Well, let's get an update on the fire risk as temperatures soar across the country. New South Wales Rural Fire Service Commissioner Rob Rogers joins us from Sydney, while Chief Fire Officer Chris Hardman from Forest Fire Management Victoria is at the State Control Centre in Melbourne for us. Well, first of all, to you, Chris Hardman, what is the latest on that Creswick fire?
Thanks. We've certainly had a really busy night and really pleased to say that the messages have been downgraded for the Creswick fire. We had two major fires yesterday, one at Candook near Casterton and the one last night at Creswick, which was really active fire behaviour. And I'd just like to say the firefighters did a fantastic job in pulling that fire up, and right now we have no reports of any losses whatsoever. And I'd just like to acknowledge and thank the community for taking heed of our warnings last night and those people in the path of that fire evacuating. But really terrific work by our firefighters, making sure that no assets have been lost. We're not certain if there are any minor assets, but certainly no reports of any house losses at the moment, which is great news for local residents.
That's definitely brilliant news to hear, Chris, and obviously now the attention will be on trying to capitalise on these cooler conditions.
Yeah, we've got about 300 firefighters on those active fires at the moment, and they will have many days' work ahead of them, continuing to mop up and black out these fires. And I have to say to the community members that we're in a typical Victorian summer now, where you do get this slow build-up of heat and fire weather, and every 7 to 10 day cycles we get a very significant warming event this time of year. So it's going to be really important that we support the firefighters getting on top of the blacking out to make sure that those fires don't spread again the next time it warms up.
And do we have any particular areas that are still on high alert in terms of fire danger ratings around the state, or not at this stage?
Yeah, we do. We've certainly, the southern parts of Victoria, the relative humidity has picked up and the fire dangers have dropped out. But in our Mallee region in Victoria's northwest and the Wimmera fire districts, we are still seeing very close to extreme conditions, and in those two areas we have total fire ban days. So again, just like to really be clear that no fires in the open. Make sure that if you live in those areas, in a high risk area, that you've got your plan, and if you decide to leave early. Make sure that you've got access to really good information. The Vic Emergency app, watch your emergency services broadcasters, because knowledge is power when you're in a high-risk fire environment, and it's really important that people make good decisions when they face a risk like they're seeing today in the Mallee and the Wimmera fire districts.
And to you now, New South Wales Rural Fire Service Commissioner Rob Rogers, just what sort of conditions are you bracing for in New South Wales?
Yeah, good morning. Look, we had elevated conditions over the weekend and we had a number of lightning strikes that caused fires, particularly in the Hunter Valley area, Howes Valley. That area has got 3 active fires. We've got 12 fires burning across the state. 5 of those are not contained, but that Hunter Valley is going to be a real concentration of area today. We're going to see elevated temperatures quite to a large part of the state. That's going to continue. Winds are going to pick up 20, 30 kilometres an hour. We'll see a change come through later today, and obviously ahead of that change, people would be aware the wind picks up ahead of that change, so that's going to be a danger period. And what we're going to see is there'll still be some hot areas tomorrow in the state, but it'll back off tomorrow. But probably on the weekend, it'll start to get hot again. And as Chris mentioned, we'll be back into those cycles again of getting that warm weather. And the trick for fire agencies is to try and get rid of as many fires as possible, so you not keep carrying more and more fires into these peak days, because that's where we start to obviously lose control over the number of fires we had. So crews will be working very hard. We've had helicopter winched in crews yesterday on a number of fires, and we'll be doing that again this morning, supported by large air tankers, to try and get containment on these fires as quick as we possibly can.
Absolutely. And also, just in terms of the really hot temperatures, that's really drying out a lot of the foliage as well. So you're getting those increased fuel loads, which is causing more concern, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're seeing, particularly in those areas west of the Divide, all that grassland area that's come from all the rain we've had, that fuel is fairly dry now. So these fewer warmer days are going to really get that ready to burn. And our real concern is that we start getting large grass fires in those areas. The forest fire risk will always be there on a bad day, but this grass fire risk is something we haven't seen for a number of years. Certainly not in the last decade. We haven't seen the amount of grass that's out there.
So as you're bracing for these really hot temperatures, what's your advice to people in those communities that could be facing the path of fires?
Most important thing is obviously be prepared. Make sure you've done some simple preparatory things around your home. Clean out the gutters, remove combustibles from around your home, have a hose that'll reach around. Best of all, have a bushfire survival plan and know what you and your family are going to do if fire starts in your area. You can use the Hazards Near Me app. You can set up a watch zone around your home if you're working around elsewhere. You can also set up watch zones for vulnerable family members that you might want to keep an eye on, making sure there's no fires near them. So do those simple preparatory things. It doesn't take a lot of time, but it can certainly save you a lot of grief from trying to do that when the fires are already occurring.
Commissioner Rob Rogers from the RFS and also Chris Hardman from Forest Fire Management Victoria, thank you very much for your time and all of the advice.